Before going in this particular session, there are few things that I would just like to talk upon, though this is not a rocket science, you might be knowing, but I just want to emphasize on these particular things first before we start with this particular session. You know this particular thing that ethics paper is divided in two sections, that is section A and section B. Section A and section B. Now, when we talk about section A, in section A, total questions that we have are 6 questions, but these 6 questions are divided in subparts. So in total, the number of questions that you have to attempt, they will be 13 questions. There will be 13 questions. When we talk about section B, you know that we have 6 case studies, and though these case studies are also subdivided, okay, so these 13 questions we have, and every question, now the pattern that is there, every question would be of 10 marks. So in total, we have 130 marks in section A and we have 120 marks in section B. Now you see this particular thing that when we talk about the weightage of marks, it is almost equal, 130 marks in section A and 120 marks in section B. So when the time allocation is concerned, many students will have their sweet spot, they have their own strength and weaknesses. Some might take more time in case studies, some might take more time in section A paper. It will vary person to person, but if I divide, because the number of marks are same, that you are going to take 1.5 hours here, let's say you will be taking 90 minutes here, and let's say you will be taking 90 minutes here. So you see this particular thing, that how much time we have for one question. For every question, we have around 7 minutes of time. We have around 7 minutes of time. It will include reading the question, structuring that particular answer for that particular question, then writing on all these things are there which have to be done in 7 minutes. Now, one very important thing that I would like to talk upon here is that, guys, many copies that I have seen over so many of years, I found this particular thing, that a large number of students are not able to complete ethics paper. They are not able to attempt 1 or 2 questions. They are leaving it. That is, first of all, a blunder that we are committing. We need to ensure that we don't leave any question. Now, there are few reasons that why we are leaving the question. One big reason that we are leaving the question is that what actually is happening, we are writing overly lengthy answers. We are writing answers so lengthy that actually was not required. Now you see, if you will read, if you will see the UPSC's paper, very clearly mention that you have to write answer in 150 words. 150 words. Now see, this 150 word, it is a red line, okay, means in no capacity you should go beyond these 150 words. But many students, they are writing lengthy answers, they are going in the range of 180 marks, 180 words, 200 words. Now what is happening, if you are writing 30 words extra, if you are writing 30 words extra, then across 13 questions, how many words you have written? You have written 390 words extra, if I am not wrong. You have written 390 words extra, if I am not wrong. What it means? It means that you actually have written 2.5 extra answers. Okay, nearly 2.5 extra answers you have written. This is the place, this is the reason that many of you are leaving 1 or 2 questions, you are not able to complete. So first thing that has to be kept in mind is that we have to strictly adhere to this particular word limit. Now I will say that the golden spot that you have to remember is that 130, 135 words or 140 words is the zone, or let's keep it in a 135 to 145 words is the golden territory in which you should stop. Fine, please don't go beyond that. Now, for that particular thing, guys, there are certain things that we can do here, that we can implement here, is that what we are going to do. Now we are, now see this particular thing, that this QCA that I have designed here. Now in this particular QCA, there are certain divisions that we have made. Let's understand that what is the logic of these particular divisions. Now, first of all, you will find that here we have this question. Then there is this particular space, first space that we have. Now this particular space is the one which we will be practicing our introduction. Now you see this particular thing, that you get marks for addressing the core demand of the question, and you will address the core demand of the question when you are addressing the main body. But introduction you have to write. so that you can give a good start, so that abrupt start can be avoided. Point is that introduction needs to be to the point. It needs to be to the point. It needs to be as crisp as possible, as crisp as possible. So therefore, what I find this thing, that many number of times you are writing excessively lengthy introductions, half a page introduction. So we have to ensure that this habit is stopped now. So this is the maximum space in which we are going to practice introduction. Will not cross this particular line in any capacity. Then we have the space here, and this particular space is for our the main body. This space is for our main body. So I am taking around 1.5 page. Now see, yes, I understand this particular thing also, that everybody's writing style is not same. Some of aspirants write some bigger words, they write bigger words. So there might be a thing that you might cross this particular line, your answer might go till here, your answer might go till here. Some of you are writing very small letters, so your answer might go here. But this is actually not a very strict Lakshman Rekha kind of a thing that you have to follow, but this is actually a kind of a zone at which you should stop. Because you write small letters, you write big letters, you should not go beyond this, because then what you are doing, you are going in that particular zone where your answers will go in the range of 170, 180 marks. We need to ensure that we don't go here. And then you have some extra space here. So once we will do over this live answer writing session, then when I'm going to discuss with you the approach that you should have followed, so what you can do, you can jot down your points here, so that you have one place where all these particular exercises being done. I don't want you to have extra copy or such pages, etc., because we want to ensure that it should be as frictionless as possible. I hope that you have already taken up the printout of this particular assignment copy that I have given you. So please keep it handy. Okay, we are going to do the live answer writing session, and this is not going to be just a very passive exercise. A lot of nuances we are going to learn here. Okay, sir, sometimes diagrams, yes, if you are making some kind of a diagram, okay, then yes, that might be the situation that you'll go. This is the reason I said that not a line but a zone. So that's acceptable. Okay, that's acceptable. So let's get started with the first question. So please grab your pen. See, from the very first day, we are going to follow this particular strict regimen. 7 minutes time you have. So we will be keeping a timer for 7 minutes only. Why not 8 minutes and 9 minutes in the start? Because you see, we have to train our brain, that our brain has to complete all this structuring part, writing part, all this has to be completed in 7 minutes. We need to train our brain, we need to nudge our brain. If we will not do that from the very start, from the today, then you don't have now time. Mains is approaching, you don't have time, that okay, you'll cultivate it some other day. Now the D-day has already come. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a timer here, and we'll discuss, you'll write, and then we'll be taking it up. Okay, so your time starts now. Reading question, doing question, now it's your, and after 7 minutes we'll discuss. Okay, so our time is over. Now just please guys try to keep the class participative. I just want to know that how many of you were able to finish your answer. Please write your just I, me, or whatever you want to write. Please write. How many of you were able to finish the answer? How many of you were able to do that? Yes. Yes, guys, how many of you were able to finish the answer? Okay. Guys, please take effort from your side, because you need to ensure this thing. You need to take it like a class. Fine. So please don't behave in this particular capacity that, okay, I am the one who is talking here. I want responses from your side as well, because that's the way we are going to do this. Yes, Prashant, Sahil, others, Akshay. Okay, not concluded. Others, guys, what's the situation? Able to finish? Okay, due to, okay, fine. Now see this particular thing. Let's see, let's come now. Don't see this particular thing as a way for this answer only, because obviously questions that will be coming, they'll be different. So we need to understand a kind of an approach pattern. Okay, now you see this particular thing. that, see, when we read this particular question, first of all, let's dissect this particular question. Now, this dissection should happen in milliseconds in your brain, and that will only happen when you'll read and you'll write a lot of questions. So, at least 100, 150 questions, please write it before the examination. Every day, try to write at least 3, 4 questions. Fine. So what the question says it is believed that adherence to ethics in human actions would ensure in smooth functioning of an organization system. Okay, this is a premise that they have given. Now question starts from actually here. If so, what does ethics seeks to promote in human life? What does ethics seeks to promote in human life? This is the first aspect of the question that you should be addressing directly in your answer. Second, how do ethical values assist in the resolution of conflicts faced by him in his day-to-day functioning? So our answer's main body part will revolve. Now these are the two core things which we have to address. Number one, what does ethics seeks to promote in human life, and how ethical values assist in the resolution of conflicts. Now you see that first of all, how to approach the introduction. How to approach introduction. So when we talk about introduction, what we can do, we can define the core keyword that is given in that particular introduction, in the question. Now what keyword here we have in question? We have the keyword that is ethics. So what we can do, introduction could be framed where we are defining ethics, and we are defining ethics in such a capacity that how ethics is a positive contributor in streamlining human actions, human behavior. Let's see that. So first of all, please try to use some philosophical flair and keywords wherever possible. Try to keep your answer simple. We can say ethics is simply ethics act as a lighthouse, or ethics act as a moral compass. Ethics act as a lighthouse, or ethics act as a moral compass which guides human behavior, towards justness, which guides human behavior towards rightfulness, and it also helps to distinguish the right and wrong acts. It also helps to distinguish right and wrong acts, and therefore promote congeniality. And resolve help to resolve conflicts in day-to-day life. What we have done, I think we have used 3, 4 lines maximum, and in 3, 4 lines what we did, we defined ethics and we connected the importance of ethics with the conflict resolution. And also what we did, we also provided that what ethics promote. They promote congeniality. So my point is that as far as possible, please ensure this thing that you are using the keywords mentioned in the question in your answers also, because it shows that you are sticked to the demand of the answer. So again, I'll explain. I'll take just 10 seconds. What we have done, we have defined the introduction through the help of a keyword, that ethics act as lighthouse or moral compass which guides human behavior towards rightfulness, and also helps to distinguish right and wrong acts, which brings congeniality in human life, and which also helps in the conflict resolution. Also, if you want to give more philosophical flair, then you remember we discussed the Potter Stewart's quotation also. So Potter Stewart tells ethics is knowing the difference between what is your right to do and what is right to do. And by understanding that difference, and by understanding this particular difference, ethics will promote congeniality in human life and will help in the resolution of conflict. Again, we'll come to the core question. We'll connect this ethics with the demand of that question. So Potter Stewart's quotation or the basic definition. Now you see, role of ethics. So two parts, and these, see, understand, please don't, please ensure this thing that you should not make the things difficult for examiner. Examiner have asked you 2 things. You have to give these 2 things very clearly in your answer. Don't beat around the bush. Role of ethics in human life. I'll give 2, 3, 4 points, whatever I want to give. 2 or 3 points will be more than sufficient because they will suffice your 150 marks words requirement. And role of ethical values in conflict resolution. Exactly the same keywords. So first, I'll be talking on the role of ethics in human life. So when we talk about the role of ethics in human life, what happens? Ethics helps in making sound judgments. These sound judgments helps in rational decision making, helps in rational decision making, and such rational decision making promotes peace and order, promotes peace and promotes peace and order. Okay, so what ethics helps? Ethics helps us in making the sound judgments. It helps us to look beyond the self interest, to look for the societal and collective interest, and by that peace and order can be maintained. Second, ethics. Now you see, two lines, three lines maximum. You have done the answer writing and you already know that 2 line, 3 line, beyond that explanation if you'll give, then you will cross the word limit. Next, ethics helps in the realization of duties and responsibilities. Now see, ethics helps in the realization of duties and responsibilities and effective pursuance of duties and responsibilities. Number one, create a dharma based society. Dharma based society. Secondly, you see, Gandhiji said that everybody's rights, but nobody's duty will mean nobody's rights. So if you want to enjoy the rights, you have to do your duty. And for doing your duty, you have to have ethical understanding, because when you have ethics, you'll understand your duty, you'll do your responsibility, and by that you'll get your rights. And if a human being enjoys his rights, fine, what happens? He is living a fulfilled life in a civilized democratic society. Then ethics, they form a broad conception of good life. Now see, what happens? Ethics helps an individual to look beyond the narrow conception of good life. Narrow conception of good life is characterized by material wealth, name, fame. But broad conception of good life is characterized by contentment. It is characterized by satisfaction. It is content by service. So ethics will help you to frame a broad conception of good life. And when you'll frame a broad conception of good life and you live as per that broad conception of good life, ethics will promote the order. Ethics will promote the peace in the human mind. So this is the what ethics promotes in human life. Clear? Then ethics builds the social capital. So a person following ethical values, ethics builds social capital, and social capital gives opportunity for growth and development. It gives opportunity for growth and development. So people who are trusted in the society, people who are trusted in the society, people who follow values, people who follow integrity, they get more options for growth and development. You take example of Tata. Tata enjoys rich social capital. Kingfisher doesn't enjoy a rich social capital. And because of the Tata enjoys good social capital, it has developed a positive image in the mind of investors, in the mind of shareholders, which has given economic benefits to the Tata at the individual level. So a person who is ethical has social capital, which gives him more opportunities for growth and development. So here also ethics helps growth and development. Fine. Then role of ethical values in conflict resolution. Role of ethical values in conflict resolution. Now see, what we can do, we can bring the flavor in our answer. Now as we're talking about bringing flavor in our answer, now you see, I will now advise you not to make those monolithic or linear 1, 2, 3, 4 points. Rather, that conflict resolution could be explained at multiple level. For example, role of ethics in conflict resolution. What I can do, I can explain the conflict resolution at individual level, how ethics help in conflict resolution at society's level, and how ethics helps in conflict resolution at the global level. And I'll give the example for everyone. For example, individual level. Now see, individual level, what happened? If you are ethical, if you have moral values, you would be, now you would not be driven by momentary temptations. You would not be driven by negative emotions. You will act the viability of an action on your value system. You'll not take decisions on the basis of the temptations. And therefore, what will happen in such a capacity, a person will be able to take balanced decisions. And through that balanced decision, what will happen? Conflict resolution will become effective. I hope you are able to understand. Now see, what happened? See, when I act on my temptations, what will happen? I will have a life which is marked by the disputes. Okay, you just take the example of Ravan. What happened? Ravan acted on his temptations and emotions and abducted the Sita. What happened? It created an entire conflict. It led to such a big war. Duryodhan, we have the example of Duryodhan. Duryodhan acted on his narrow, selfish temptations. And because of that, Draupadi's Chirharan happened. Because of that, all wicked acts he did, and it led to the war of Mahabharata. So at an individual level, we need not to be driven by temptations, and ethics will help us to ensure that we don't driven by temptation. At individual level, it helps us to live a balanced life, which will help in conflict resolution. Then at societal level, now see, at society, we see there is a lot of diversity. Now ethical understanding, what will happen? Ethics at society's level will teach accommodation. Such accommodation will translate in tolerance. And when accommodation and tolerance transcends in the society, it helps in avoiding the conflicts. Communal disputes will not happen. Caste disputes will not happen. Gender divides would not be there. And truly, we would be able to emerge as a Vasudev Kutumbakam. Truly, we will be able to emerge as a Vasudev Kutumbakam. Vasudev Kutumbakam point you want to write at a global level, there also you can write, it's your wish. Then at global level, now ethical values. So here the ethical values will come at the level of nations. So for example, India is a nation which has followed the moral and ethical values in its foreign policy. So you see, at global level, ethical values, if are followed by the countries, it will lead to the rule based order. It will lead to the respect to the sovereignty. And because of that particular respect, what will happen? Cross boundary insurgents, cross boundary confrontations will not happen, skirmishes will not happen. It will lead to the respect of liberalism. And the example of ethics at a global level could be seen through the policy of Panchashil as followed by India. Is it clear? Fine. So this is about it. Fine. Okay. Now there is one question that has come, sir, shouldn't we stick to conflict resolution functioning of organization? Now see this particular thing again. Let's read the question. See what question is: it is believed that adherence to ethics in human action would ensure in systemic functioning of an organization or a system. Okay, now this specifically doesn't mean that they are talking only about a organization in terms of a corporate, or they're talking about organization in the capacity of a civil services. They have given a very generic view of organization or a system. System could be anything. Are you getting it or not? A family is a system of some social relations. Okay. Secondly, the question, what it says, if so, what does ethics seeks to promote in human life? And second, how do ethical values assist in the resolution of conflict faced by him in day-to-day functioning? So in day-to-day functioning, where a human will see conflict, he will see conflict at individual level. Now a society is also made up of individuals only. Global level, it is also basically what a global level is. It is made up of the societies, and societies are constituted by the individuals. Okay. That is one particular thing. However, if you want to write it purely on the level of only individual, then only you can develop on this particular line. For example, what you can do, even these points, accommodation, tolerance, okay, avoidance of extremist viewpoint, all these particular things will come there. Clear? Fine. Are we clear? Yes, guys, are we clear or not? Yes, are we clear or not? Can we move to the next question now then? Okay. Can we move to the next question? Also give clarity over personal and public ethics. Webheavy, I have already discussed that particular thing in the class second, I guess. Please go through that. There you'll get it. Okay. Now moving on, and let's go to the second question. So approach would be same. Question now reads, all these are the PYQ questions. Question now reads, without commonly shared and widely entrenched moral values and obligations, neither the law nor democratic government nor even the market economy will function properly. Okay, is it clear? Yes. Conclusion. Now see this particular thing. Yes, a very important thing. See, when we are talking about conclusion, understand this particular thing, that by the time you'll reach here, you will already be breaching to that particular red line of your answer. So what is the concluding remark? In concluding remark, what you can do, you can simply give A generic, now see this particular thing. See this particular, there is a difference between way forward and a conclusion. There is a difference between a way forward and a conclusion. When you are writing a way forward, you are suggesting the solution of some problem. You are suggesting the solution of some problem. When you are writing a conclusion, in conclusion, what you are doing, you are giving the final remarks on your entire write-up. Now, largely when we talk about the ethics questions, they are opinionated questions where they are asking your take on certain dimension. They are not specifically asking you to give solutions. Yes, sometimes there might be there. For example, there was a question about the increasing instances of sexual harassment against the women. So largely what the questions that will come, they are asking your opinion on a particular kind of a viewpoint, your take on a particular dimension. So in conclusion, what we can do, we can give a kind of a overview, we can strengthen the premise. For example, we can simply provide this particular thing. We can simply provide this thing, that holistic adherence to ethics and moral values is a sine qua non for the effective functioning of society, as well as to ensure the human congeniality, or to ensure the peace at the to ensure the peace of mind for a human. Just a kind of a generic overview you need to give. Is it clear? My point, again I'm saying this particular thing, that you will not have that much of a time. So maximum 1 or 2 lines, 7 minutes. That is something. Is it clear or not? Now moving on. So again, 7 minutes and your time starts now. Okay guys, so I hope you have attempted this answer. Please leave the comment here that how many of you were able to finish it. How many of you were able to finish it? Yes, please quickly, how many of you were able to finish it? Now moving on, first of all, let's read this question, what it says. Question says, without commonly shared and widely entrenched moral values and obligations, neither the law nor democratic government nor even the market economy will function properly. What do you understand by this statement? Explain with illustration in the contemporary times. Okay, could not finish. Okay. So what this particular question is demanding, if I just simplify this particular question simply talks about this particular thing, that there should be commonly shared, mean society at a large should believe in certain values, these values should be commonly shared, should be entrenched, means that they should be orally entrenched, they should be imbibed in your psyche. So there should be entrenched and commonly shared values, because they are very much important for working of law, democratic government and the market economy. We need to illustrate it with the help of example. Now we need to illustrate it with the help of example. Okay, now let's see that how we can approach this particular answer. So you see this particular thing, that now, first of all, what we gonna do, we will be mentioning the introduction. Now in introduction, what we can do, introduction could be written in multiple ways, because now I want you that please don't write every answer in one direction only. There could be the multiple ways in which you will write the answer. One way of answer writing is that what we can do, we can define the values. Option 1, what we can do, we can define the values. What is the definition of value? Value could simply be defined as the parameters or yardsticks on which we assess the desirability of any action, choice and behavior, that is value. If I have a value of honesty, I will assess that honest behavior is good. If you give me bribe and my value is of honesty, I will assess that this behavior is not good, I will reject it. So everything in our life we assess on the basis of value. So the answer is saying that there should be moral values. Moral values or virtues need to be there, because only then the law, a government and the market economy will function properly. So first is that we can define the value. Or second, what we can do, we can strengthen the premise. We can talk about the premise only, and we can just say that why the values are important. We can just give an overview. In body, now see this particular thing. In body, I will talk about the importance of value from the perspective of law. See, just give me 1 minute. In main body, I will be talking about the importance of value with respect to the law, with respect to democratic government, and with respect to the market economy. This is something that I'm going to do. But in my introduction, what I can do, I can talk about the general premise, I can strengthen it, I can support it. For example, what we have written here, we talk about the statement. We say that this statement or the above mentioned statement or statement underscores or it highlights indispensable, means unavoidable, indispensable, crucial role of shared moral values and obligations for the effective functioning of key societal institution. That is, I'll mention here, that is for the functioning of key societal institution, as without such moral framework, neither the law will work, nor democratic government will work, nor market economy can falter. It will lead to corruption, it will lead to inefficiency, it will lead to social discord. It leads to social discord. And in the present times, such values are important given the huge consequential catastrophic will not use the word catastrophic, will use the huge consequential crises that are happening in corporate world, happening in governance, scams, corruption are happening. The values are very important. So this is called as strengthening the premise. This is called as strengthening the premise. Now here will not be writing the ethics definition. Why? Because you see, keyword in this particular answer is not ethics. Keyword is values. Keyword is values. Ethics is not the keyword. So if you write here also the ethics explanation, your answer will look little bit more mechanical. So please don't do that. Okay. You can also talk about the words such as universal morality. Okay, here in the introduction. So I hope it is clear. Now again, this rule, golden rule, we have to follow always. Very straightforward. We need to give to the examiner what he is asking. Three things he is asking. So importance of value in law. So you see, moral values will guide the law. Moral values will guide the law with the spirit of Antyodaya, Sarvodaya. Antyodaya, upliftment of all, upliftment of the deprived, downtrodden. Antyodaya is upliftment of the downtrodden, upliftment of the deprived section of society, and Sarvodaya is the upliftment of all. So moral values will guide the law based on the philosophy of Antyodaya Sarvodaya, which is perfectly reflected in our DPSP and preamble. Okay. Second, moral values. Now, moral values will also help to identify those laws which have which work against the welfareism. Now see, this is a little bit of different dimension. Those laws which don't now stand the present ethical framework. For example, triple talaq. Now, triple talaq was sanctioned as per the personal law of Islamic community, but triple talaq was leading to inequality and it was leading to gender injustice. It was leading to gender injustice. You can give other examples. You can give the example of adultery. You can give the example of adultery. Adultery was also leading to gender injustice. You can give the example of section 377, which was going against the one person's right to bodily, basically bodily autonomy. It was going against privacy. It was outlawed. Okay, it has been removed. Why? Because the moral values guided the law making. Moral values help us to identify those laws which goes against welfareism, which today are leading to social injustices. There also the moral values will help us. So the law making will become welfare oriented. Law making will follow constitutional morality. Then democratic government. Democratic government. Now you see this particular thing, moral values, they become the foundation. Moral values become the foundation of democratic governance. Now see this thing. Moral values become the foundation of rule-based democratic society. They become the foundation of good governance. Now see, we have example. We have RTI Act. Now RTI Act promotes the value of transparency. We have SC/ST Act, prevention of SC/ST, prevention of atrocities Act. It promotes the value of social justice. Okay, it promotes the value of social justice. Now, what happened? RTI Act today is leading to good governance. SC/ST Act today is leading to leading to the governance based on the social justice. Why this type of governance is possible? Because there were the moral values. Then moral values will also lead to fulfillment of Lok Samagra. Now, Lok Samagra concept was given by Kautilya. You'll explain it in a line. Lok Samagra concept was given by Kautilya, where he explained that in the welfare of the society lies the welfare of the state. Okay, collective welfare has been talked about in the Lok Samagraha. So, Lok Samagraha, citizen centricity, realization of Niti and Nyaya, Amartya Sen, all can happen only with the help of the democratic government run by moral values. All can happen by the democratic run by moral values. Okay. Then market economy. Now you see this particular thing. For market economy to be efficient, market economy has to be carried forward by the values of trust, by the values of mutual interdependence. If mutual interdependence is not there, if trust is not there, market economy cannot function. And these values are moral values only. These values are moral values only. Also, if market economy is not is not driven on the moral values, what might happen? It might not drive sustainable development. It might not drive sustainable development. Clear? So therefore, market economy also. Now, in conclusion, what we can do? In conclusion, we can provide this particular thing, that ethics, hence, ethics is not only an abstract domain. It is not only an abstract domain. It is not only a normative domain. Rather, it has a practical utility. It makes law, democratic governance, and market economy more effective. Clear? This is the way we can answer this. Okay, this will be then conclusion. Now, guys, my point, I am more interested in showing you one particular thing, that whether all these things that we have written, could we have been able to write? Now, these are the PYQs. I have not made them. Could we have been able to address these answers on the basis of our classes and our handouts that we have taken up? So here I am opening this. Already you have this handout copy. Now, in the start, I have given you 4 definitions of ethics. That is one basic definition of ethics that we actually used. Okay, we added some keywords such as lighthouse, moral compass, but this is the definition of ethics that we used in the first answer. Then I told you one philosophical quotation based explanation of ethics, Porter Stewart's quotation. If a governance related question only comes, then you can use a second ARC's definition. And if it is a spiritual or philosophical question, you can use the explanation given by Mahabharata, Bible, Udan Varg, all explained in the same capacity only. Do not do unto others as you would not be done by. Is it clear or not? Now see this thing. First question was based on that how ethics will, what ethics will. The first question that we have, it was based on this particular thing only, that what ethics to promote in human life. So you see, ethics help in realization of duties and responsibilities. Directly we have taken it from here only. Ethics help in making sound judgments. We have taken it from here only. Okay, ethics helps in living a good life, contented life, fulfilled life. We have taken it from here only. Are you getting it or not? Ethics role at societal level, fine, human level. You see this particular thing. Then here we took this particular article, then what ethics will promote. Then conflict resolution part we discussed. Then in the next question, what we discussed about the ethics role in governance, in lawmaking. Okay, so you see this particular thing. Fine. Ethics helps in realization of Gandhian ideals, Antyodaya Sarvodaya. Ethics guides civil servants towards constitutional morality. Even second ARC says that law will control the perverse mind. Ethics will curb the perverse heart. So transformation in governance can not come if ethics is not there. Ethics aligns, Amartya says, Nyaya with Niti. Okay. Ethics governance will lead to citizen centricity. Okay. Ethics plus values will become the foundation of a rule-based democratic society. These examples we have taken up. Okay. One deliberative democracy example also. Ethics guides market economy. Okay. So my point is that I'll advise you one particular thing again and again. I'm saying you this thing, that for content, please don't run here and there. Content is sufficient. Content is sufficient for your mains examination. Okay. My point is that learn the art how to use this content in other multiple ways. Okay. Fine. Are we clear, guys? Can now we move to the next question then? So now we have the third question, and the question reads, This please, I'm again giving you 7 minutes, and please try to attempt this particular question in 7 minutes. Okay, so we are going to start it. Your time starts now. Fine, guys. So I hope that you have written your answers. I hope you have written your answers. Please quickly let me know how many of you were able to complete your answers in the stipulated time, that is 7 minutes. How many of you were able to do that? Okay, so what does the question, what does this particular question reads? Let's see that. Question says that if a country is to be corruption free and become a nation of beautiful minds, I strongly feel that there are three key societal members who can make a difference. They are father, mother, and the teacher. Dr. Abdul Kalam. So this was a 2022 question. First of all, they have actually asked two times the same question. One was in 2022, okay, and one was in 2017. We'll see this particular thing. I'll just show you this after the discussion of this particular answer, that you see there are some other questions also that have been asked in other years, but that understanding that we have used in the previous questions, on that basis of that understanding only, even these answers you can address. After the class will sorry, after this particular answer we'll discuss that. Okay, so I strongly feel if a society, if a country is to be corruption free and become a nation of beautiful mind, I strongly feel there are three key societal members who can make a difference. So it is talking about the role of father, mother, or simply I can say parents. And they're asking the role of teacher, that how they will help in making a country corruption free. Now you see this particular thing, how to approach this particular answer. How to approach this particular answer. Okay, now see this thing. First of all, what we need to do in introduction. Now this particular question is a quotation centric. Understand this particular thing. Quotations can be of two types. Two types of quotations largely are asked in UPSC. One are value centric quotation and other are the message centric quotation. Value centric quotation will talk about some value. For example, they might be talking about integrity, they might be talking about the honesty. Okay, so that is the value centric quotation. Okay, so integrity is the true test of basically true integrity is the one which can stand the test of adversity, something like this. Value centric quotation, very simple idea. Honesty is the best policy. Value centric quotation. Okay, message centric quotation. For example, there is a quotation of Gandhiji that world has enough for everybody's need but not for everybody's greed. This is a message centric quotation. Yes, environmentalism also a value that is there, but Gandhiji is giving the message that we need to move towards the environmental ethics, we need to move towards the sustainability. For example, now in values message centric quotations, there can be two type of quotations that can be there. One are which are giving you a negative message. For example, Mao Zedong says power grows out of the barrel of a gun. Fine. Now that, so basically what will our answer will be like that. Okay, we need not to get influenced by such a message. Gandhiji's message, yes, we need to get influenced. So these will be largely the quotations that are there. Now this particular quotation, it is talking about largely value inculcation. They say that these three people will make the most impact. They'll shape the moral understanding of an individual. And if they shape that moral understanding properly, society will become corruption free. Means people will become ethical. They'll not involve in corruption and all such kind of a thing. So what we can do, we can say quotation specified by, or Dr. Kalam's quotation. We'll start with this. Dr. Kalam's quotation highlights the role of value inculcation in creating an ethical and corruption free society. In creating an ethical and corruption free society. Now, what you can do after that, you want to make a flowchart kind of a thing, you can do that also. Let's see what this flowchart is all about. So, you see, there are beliefs that an individual holds. What is belief? Beliefs are the mental constructs or the ideas that an individual feels to be true. That are the belief. Okay, so an individual might hold hundreds and thousands of beliefs. So there are the beliefs. Now, some of these beliefs will become core beliefs, and then those core beliefs will become our values. Okay? Now, these values will shape our choices, and our choices, will ultimately drive our behavior. And this behavior, basically, this behavior pertains to the ethical scrutiny. Okay, what is corruption? Corruption is an act of action where you have misused your power. So, our behavior will be ethically scrutinized. So, at the end of the day, an individual's behavior, ethical or unethical, is flowing from his values. And here, if value inculcation is done, if positive values are instilled, a person's behavior ultimately will become ethical. If here I put virtues, if I give virtues, then what will happen? Behavior will be good. Now, values are shaped by our beliefs, what ideas we hold, and our beliefs. Who conditions? Beliefs are conditioned by our primary socializers. Who are primary socializers? Your parents and your teachers are the primary socializers. All this we need to tell here. Now, your question might be there that how to put it in 3-4 lines. So, very simple, not a big rocket science. Simply we say that Dr. Kalam's quotation highlights the role of value inculcation, as value inculcation can help in making as value inculcation will make an individual ethical, and such ethical individuals might not be going in corruption, and a corruption free society can be achieved. Then we'll be giving this particular flow chart. We'll say in the conception of such a society. Okay, so value inculcation is important. Right now we have said in conception of such a society, that is a corruption free society, particular role would be played by parents and teachers. Particular role would be played by parents and teachers. This is something that we'll be writing here. Now, again, that rule will always be sticking. Core demand of the questions, we need to directly jump on that. Now, what we'll do, I'll divide my main body in 2 parts. One, I'll be talking about the role of parents in value inculcation, father, mother, both included. And then, after that, I'll be talking about the role of teachers in value inculcation. Role of teachers in value inculcation. Okay, so here I have taken more points, but if you'll write only 2 points or 3 points, more than sufficient. 3 is beyond the 3 you need not to go. Okay, sir, can we start it by corruption data? See, the quote is little bit more philosophical in nature. If you want, you can do that also, not a problem. I'll not advise, no, that's not allowed. Yes, you can do if you want. Now, role of parents. Number 1, parents, what they do? They help in positive socialization. They help in positive socialization. Socialization is a complex process by which an individual understands what is to be done in a society, what is not to be done in a society. So, positive socialization will be done by parents. Keywords. How positive socialization will be done, or how through positive socialization values will be taught by the parents. Now, see. Through selfless and unconditional love that the parents show. Through the basically a child learns selflessness and learns unconditional love from the parents, behavior. Value of sharing from elders. Okay, value of sharing from elders and siblings, and prudence, wisdom from grandparents. So these values are inculcated. You want to write only on the father, mother, you can remove this particular point, prudence and wisdom. You can put that they learn prudence from parents, they learn value of sharing from parents, they learn unconditional love from parents. Now, next thing is that parents are also our first inspiration is our parents. For example, there are many families which are involved in the defense. Okay, there is a history of the families that all have served the nation. So first inspiration for them is their family. So what happened? Children try to emulate the behavior of their parents. Okay, so they are the first inspiration, and if they are the positive inspiration, they can inculcate good morals and might ensure that they don't go in corruption. Then family shows the utility in moral living. Now see this particular thing. Why I should be contented with less, but that what I have earned through ethics, through ethical means. Why success at any cost is not important. Why success at any cost is not important? Why material wealth is not the only important thing in life. Why satisfaction and happiness is more important? Why empathy and compassion is more important? Why giving up the bad things is more important? Why moral living is important? That utility is shaped by your family. So they shape your perception. They shape your perception towards what is a true success, what is a true achievement, and by that, good values are inculcated, and by these good values, corruption and all such tendencies can be avoided. Then, positive habit formation. They teaches you the habits of staying disciplined, promise keeping, all these things. Fine, this is about the role of the family. Then they also directly teach you bedtime stories, folk stories, all such thing. Okay. Then role of teachers. So teachers directly they instruct the moral education. So active moral education inculcation. For example, here we have example of Dr. S. Radhakrishnan. So Dr. S. Radhakrishnan emphasized ethical behavior over the academic behavior, which inspired the ethics in his students. Then teachers foster critical thinking. Through that critical thinking, civic responsibility. Through that critical thinking and civic responsibility, a person understands the citizen's responsibility, constitutional morality. Teachers pedagogy, teachers own attitudes, teachers own pedagogy, teachers own attitude also, if moral, if positive, inculcates good values in the students. Then positive reinforcement, what teachers do, they encourage good behavior and at the same time they condemn the wrong behavior. So they are setting up the foundations, they are setting up the foundations. Condemning the wrong behavior and giving the rewards for the right kind of a behavior corrects their beliefs, from the start. Gender, for example, body shaming, not right. It might sound funny for you, but it's not right. These kind of things are taught by the teachers through the rewards and punishments. Wrong things are punished and right things are rewarded. Teachers themselves are the continuous learners through maintenance of discipline. These are some of the ways, and in fact here I have also added the new education policy which inculcates ethics through values prescribed in curriculum, but will not go here too much. Just it is, I have added here to give you more perspective on this particular line. Is it clear or not? I hope it's clear. And then what we can do, then we can conclude this particular thing. We can conclude this particular thing and can say this particular thing. We can say this particular thing that the primary socializers of an individual, the primary or the first and foremost socializers of an individual are its parents and the first teachers. And by cultivating the right values, they act in the nation building. They contribute in the nation building. Okay, something like this you can add here. Okay, so that will be your concluding remark. Okay, now guys, you see this particular thing. Just a minute. Let's. Okay, now see. Here we have some other questions also. For example, explain how ethics contribute to social and human well-being. This question was asked. What ethics seeks to promote in human life? Why is it more important in public administration? Fine. Can't I address these two questions also on the basis of understanding that I developed in question 1? Now I want your answers. Please reply. Okay, if I just show you what was the first question. If I just show you what was the first question. It is believed that adherence to ethics in human action would ensure in smooth functioning of an organization system. If so, what does ethics seeks to promote in human life? What ethics promotes in human life? Why ethics help in conflict resolution? Okay, now you see the questions. What the question says, explain how ethics contribute to social and human well-being. What does ethics seeks to promote in human life? Why it is more important in public administration? Now, public administration, both the points, that is functioning of law, functioning of democratic government. Is it clear or not? So my point is that the same content you can tweak. So this is the reason I am saying again and again that and this is for the see, you are writing mains, now you don't have time to collect hell lot of content. Fine, because you are writing mains, I am telling this thing. So my point is that ensure that you have such a content which is multi-dimensional, and from that content you should be able to generate the points. Okay. Then There is this question: discuss the role of ethics and values in enhancing the three major components of comprehensive national power. Now, need not to get scared by this word. Need not to get scared by this particular word. So, how ethics will enhance human capital, soft power, and social harmony? Okay. Again, the same points that we have discussed, little bit we need to tweak them. Human capital, how ethics will enhance these three things. This question already we discussed. Now there is one more question on the same line. Corruption is the manifestation of the failure of core values. Now the question is not on corruption. The question says corruption is there because of the failure of core values. The question starts here. It says, in your opinion, what measures can be adopted to uplift the core value in the society? What measures you will take? Now see, values depend on one's belief system. Value depends on one's belief system. So if you want to build good values in the society, you need to address the belief system. And for that, again, the role of socialization will come. Role of parents, teachers, educational institution will come. So what will direct answer? Value inculcation is to be focused. Now there is no software upgrade that will happen. There is no mechanical fix that's there. Value inculcation is the only thing. Can we conclude with yes, Socrates? Yes, you can conclude. Okay, guys. Okay, so this is the question, 2020 question. Please write it again. 7 marks. Sorry, 7 minutes time. Now, first of all, please tell me this thing that is there some improvement coming in your answers now comparatively the first answer that you were writing and now the answer that you are writing? Is there some improvement? So this ritual you have to do for a lot more days. The time that you have till the mains, you have to do it again and again and again. But I hope that a kind of a clarity is coming not only in the answer writing but also in the concepts also. So we'll try to do more sessions of this also. Okay. So question says that a system of morality which is based on relative emotional values is a mere illusion, a thoroughly vulgar conception which has nothing sound in it and nothing true. Socrates. Now, basically this particular question that we have, what this particular question is about, this question here Socrates is criticizing relative ethics. So, relative ethics, if you remember, we discussed that ethics could be, there can be relative ethics, then there can be absolute ethics. Ethical relativism, ethical absolutism. Ethical absolutism was a viewpoint that was supported by Socrates. Ethical relativism was also an alternative viewpoint that was supported largely by the sophist thinkers at that point of a time. Okay. Now, what we can do? What we can do here in introduction, for example, we can simply give our view on this particular quotation, or simply you can give the Socrates view, what he is trying to tell here. Now you see this particular thing. For example, morality is the guide to individual conduct of the good and bad. It shapes notion of right and wrong. We are explaining the morality. Socrates in the above statement highlights the problem of morality being rooted in emotional value which can result in arbitrariness. Relative emotional values, rooted in relative emotional values which can lead to arbitrariness. Now see this particular thing. Socrates criticized the idea of relative morality. His idea was very simple, and his idea was this, that ethics is all about virtues. Ethics is all about virtues. Virtues, for example, honesty is a virtue. Okay, or honesty is a virtue, prudence is a virtue, generosity is a virtue. Okay, humility is a virtue. Ethics is all about virtues, and virtues are universal. They don't change. Now you have to explain this Socrates viewpoint in the most simple words in 2-3 lines here in the introduction. So simply we say that in the above mentioned quotation, Socrates has criticized the idea of relative ethics or relative morality. Socrates believed that ethics depends on virtues and virtues are universal. So therefore ethics is also universal and ethics is not relative. Relative conception of ethics and morality will lead to many ethical problems. Fine. Also, if you want, you can complement it with one more quotation. Now as we'll be going in questions, we'll learn the different ways. So you can complement it with the other quotation also. So here we have quotation by Einstein. Even Einstein said that relativity applies to physics and not to ethics. Applies to physics and not to ethics. Now, why relative ethics? Okay, what problems it will lead to? What problems it will lead to? Number one, if there is relative ethics, then even the mob lynchings and police encounters would be justified as instant justice. Instant justice. Is it clear or not? Okay. So this particular thing will happen. What can happen more? What can happen more? So here, Supreme Court's viewpoint also you can give. So Supreme Court, what they said? That it said that it won't be hurted by popular morality, but will uphold constitutional morality. What is popular morality? Popular morality is what the today majority or the masses have said that okay, this is acceptable. That is popular morality. Now, popular morality might not always be correct. Okay, fine. We have to fix ourselves to some static, permanent ethical principles that can never be compromised. Masses moods, emotions will change all the time, and as masses moods and emotions will change all the time, the underlying what they think ethical, what they think as unethical, that might also change. If you believe that ethics are relative, that yes, ethics do change with the change in time, with the change in space, then what will happen? All the time ethics are shifting. Ethics will become more convenience based. Ethics will become more convenience based. In the name of convenience, anything could be justified as ethical. So therefore, ethics have to be static, permanent entity. Ethics have to be all about virtues, which don't depend whether you like it or not, but they have to be always true. So therefore, ethics always have to be absolute. Ethics need not to be relative. If ethics are relative, even the mob lynchings could be justified as instant justice. Okay, but it can never be justified. So ethics can not be relative. It has to be. It will lead to convenience based ethics. Already we discussed. It will lead to convenience based adherence to ethics. Ethics are non-negotiable. Ethics are non-negotiable. In the name of customs and traditions, a lot of things will be justified. Now see, when you are saying that ethics are relative, means ethics of one place are different, ethics of other place are different, ethics of one society is different. What will happen? In the name of social customs, in the name of morality, everything will get justified. Everything will get justified. So ethics are non-negotiable, can happen only if ethics are based on virtues. Then evil practices might get validated in the name of custom. Might get validated in the name of relativity. They'll say that in our society this is acceptable. You are saying that ethics do change. So in our society ethics are like this. Even child marriage, dowry, fine, not sending wives for education, all these particular things might get justified. Okay, short-term gains would be focused. Now, I'll suggest you to write 3 or 4 points maximum. Okay, also what will happen? Social reform will become difficult. Social reform will become difficult. How social reform will get difficult? Everything will get justified. Now you see this particular thing. Why today slavery is not ethical? Why today bonded labor is not ethical and it is even illegal? Why? Because we universally believed in the idea of equality. Equality was one idea which was believed at universal level to be ethical. On that basis, today bonded labor, child labor, slavery, etc., they have got invalidated. So you have to have some grounded, permanent ethical principles. You need to have then ethical absolutism. Some aspects of ethics could be relative, but making entire ethics as a relative study will never suffice. So these out of 5-6 examples that we have taken, only 3-4 you can give, and then last what we'll do, we'll conclude, and in conclusion, if you want, you can take one line that however sometimes ethical relativity also has its own justification, because as the times change, ethics have changed as well. For example, the ethics of stem cell Research was not relevant 100 years back. Today they are there. Is it clear or not? Something like this. Are you able to understand the approach, guys? Yes or no? Sir, can we write the other side of the story? You don't have that much of space here to go too much in that background story of sophist and Socrates controversy or debate. Yes, guys, are we clear on this particular point? Now, again, my point is that I am more interesting to see this thing, that do we have content? Now you see this particular thing, this question is directly coming from where? This question is directly coming, now this value question that came, Dr. Kalam's quotation, put one more question, directly it could be addressed by the value inculcation topic that is already we discussed, and then the other question that we just now discussed, it can be taken up from the nature of ethics. Are ethics relative or ethics are universal? So here Socrates viewpoint, and if you see, we have already discussed the table also. Advantages of universal ethics, issues and challenges of universal ethics. Then advantages of relative ethics, issues and challenges of relative ethics. So four sides are possible there. Four sides are possible. Absolute ethics, positive, negative. Relative ethics, positive, negative. Those points are there around which you have to juggle this thing. Okay. Let's take one more question and your time starts now. Okay, guys. So I hope you have done. Okay. So let's move in this. The question reads, social values are more important than economic values. Discuss the above statement with example in the context of inclusive growth of a nation. 2015 question. Now, first of all, guys, when we talk about the values, okay, first of all, you understand this thing that we need not to create a universal hierarchy of values. Moral values will obviously be at the top always. There is no debate in that. But don't have this particular viewpoint always that, okay, all the time I have to criticize these type of values. Okay, just to give you a little bit of an idea only, when we talk about the values, okay, when we talk about the values, so moral values, cultural values, social values, professional values, economic values, political values, environmental values, all these major type of values can be there. Okay, all these major type of values can be there. Now, it is already, the question is giving you a hint. Social values are more important than economic values. Social values are more important than economic value. When we talk about the social well-being and when we talk about the profit maximization, productivity, it sounds to the common sense also that social values are important, but here question is also giving us the direct hint. So this is something that you need to keep in your mind first. So basically, how to approach this particular answer. Now in this particular answer, again, what is the keyword? The keyword is values. Okay. And when values, there are two type of values that they are discussing. They are talking about economic value, they are talking about social value. So in introduction, what we can tell, we can simply explain values, that values are simply parameters. Values are parameters or yardsticks on whose basis we assess desirability of any choice, action, behavior. The social values, then we can explain social values. Social values are the principles or they are the parameters which guide the interactions and behavior within a society. Antyodaya, Sarvodaya, justice, freedom, solidarity, all these are the social values. Okay, sometimes values will overlap also. Some values you might be counting as political values also, social values also. Whereas economic values, now this is all what we are going. First we'll explain values, then we'll talk about economic values, and we'll talk about social values. Sorry, social values and economic values. Economic values are the principles and the parameters and yardsticks that influence the economic decision and behavior, efficiency, innovation, productivity. These are the types of some economic values. Now, The question says that social values are more important than economic values. And obviously, if you see certain subtle words, that is, they are talking about inclusive development here particularly. So what is inclusive development? Which includes all. And when we are talking about the inclusion of all the members of the society which were untouched, social aspect has to be given importance. Now here, Oscar Wilde's one quotation is there from with which we can start our body, because many number of times there is this thing also that how to use the quotations in our answers in our body, or how to start with that. So Oscar Wilde, he said, a cynic is a man who knows the price of everything but the value of nothing. So economic values, what they prioritize? Economic values prioritize profit, wealth. But if profit and wealth cannot serve the society, then that profit, wealth alone will never be useful. Fine. So if profit, wealth, they give rise to inequality, concentration of wealth, that profit and then that wealth is of no use. So rather than just profit maximization, rather than just pursuing the economic growth, rather than just pursuing the wealth maximization, we also need to ensure that on social front, the social values are also important. The values of inclusivity is important. Value of justice is important. Okay, value of justice is important. Value of equality is also needed to be taken care of. Now you see, social values, they ensure equitable and sustainable economic process. Social values provide a cohesive framework for an ethical society. Now what we'll do here, we will give two type of contrast. One contrast where economic values have been prioritized, other where economic plus social both values have been prioritized. See, if you don't give any value to if you don't give any importance to economic value, you will not be able to generate sufficient wealth by which social indicators can be improved, by which the social justice could be brought. So economic value has to be important. You will not say okay, no, we don't want wealth. Even earth has been accepted as one of a purusharth in Indian philosophy. So economic value is important. Fine. Now see this thing. Scandinavian countries and Kerala, two case studies we can mention. So Norway and Sweden, they integrate social values within the economic policy. That is something that we want. So Scandinavian, Norway and Sweden, they integrate social values within the economic policies, and because they focus both on economic and social values, it has led to controlled inequality, it has led to high income growth, it has led to gender parity in their society. Kerala. Now Kerala case is that though economic growth is modest, but focus on social value is very important, and because of that they have high literacy rates, low infant rate, life expectancy has improved. So focus on social welfare in moderate economy and focus on social welfare with good economic development, both ways it has helped. Example of Norway, Sweden, example of Kerala. Contrast with other countries where they have only prioritized the economic values and no social values. So many countries in Africa and Asia, they focus on economic growth without focus on social values, without on focus on social distribution, without focusing on inclusive development, without focus on sabka saath sabka vikas. They have focused on economic growth, and what it has led to? It has led to widened income gaps. One more word you can write. What it has led to? It has led to creation of islands of prosperity. Islands of prosperity in the sea of poverty. Islands of prosperity in the sea of poverty. This has happened. Okay. Fine. So what is way forward? Integrate social values within the economic policy. That is the recipe for inclusive growth. Promote equity. Now here some suggestions we are going to give. Okay. So promote equity, justice, broad-based growth, promote Antyodaya, promote Sarvodaya. Clear or not? So again I'll explain you what we did. In introduction, what we have done, we have simply talked about the keyword, that is the value. We have explained what is value. We have explained the social and economic values, and then we started with our main body part. And in main body part, we started with the Oscar Wilde's quotation, where he said that a cynic is a man who knows the price of everything but the value of nothing. Similarly, economic values which prioritize only on profit and wealth but don't focus on social cohesion, then that economic growth, profit is of no use. and then we'll provide that why social values are important. Then we'll give the contrasting case study of Sweden, Norway, and Kerala, which has prioritized on the social values along with economy, and the countries of Africa, Asia, which have prioritized economic values, and what is the result, and then the conclusion. Okay, yes guys, is it clear or not? Any question, any doubt if you have? Now what we are going to do, so you have already been provided that particular workbook where you have few more questions. Now my thing is that you do one thing, take a timer, 7 minutes of time, and try solving these particular questions. Now unit 1 entirely would be covered after that. So questions I have given in such a way that by solving it, all the flares which are possible in unit 1, you will get it. So please do solve it. Please do solve it. Okay, fine. So guys, if you have found this particular session productive, please let me know. We'll have more such sessions if it is helping you. Okay, fine. So we'll be meeting now. Thank you so much. Any question, any doubt if you have, please ask.